Good afternoon from London. It's the shortest day here in London, and hello to all dear comrades, friends, and supporters from Dr. Dermot Hudson, the chairman of the British Group for the Study of the Juche, chairman of the Korean Friendship Association of the UK, and the official delegate of KFA for the UK. President of the Association for the Study of Songun Politics, UK, and of course the owner of this very self-same channel, Songun 007, the militant voice of Juche and Songun in the UK, defending people's career with no ifs or buts. And for today, what I've actually done is actually redone and re-uploaded yesterday's video because there were a couple problems with the camera and also with lighting because it was made at when the light was fading. So this one is being made earlier in the day, and this is about the lies and slanders of the imperialist House of Lords against people's career. On the 14th of December, about a week ago, the unelected House of Lords, which is an unelected lawmaking body, and please note that the DPRKI itself does not have an unelected lawmaking body, but instead has a directly elected Supreme People's Assembly, which represents the workers, peasants, intellectuals, and soldiers. Anyway, the unelected House of Lords held this debate with the title Current Threat Posed by North Korea, quote unquote. Now, members of the House of Lords can receive £332 per day plus expenses just to sit down and talk about nothing all day, literally. And in this particular case, they were paid to slander the Democratic People's Republic of Korea, the independent socialist country of Juche. We have the absurd and archaic spectacle of an unelected body, unelected lawmaking body, which is an anachronism in the present day and age, calling an advanced socialist country a, quote, dictatorship and accusing it of human rights violations. And, the House of Lords, I would also point out, is not only do they get expenses for just turning up, but they are virtually all wealthy people, very wealthy people with stocks and shares and land and all the rest of it. Most of them have never done a day's work in their whole lives, and there is not a single worker or poor person in the House of Lords. That is a fact. The so-called debate was wrong from the very start because the House of Lords failed to use the correct title of the country, the Democratic People's Republic of Korea, popularly known as People's Korea or Socialist Korea or Juche Korea. Moreover, the House of Lords has absolutely no right to comment on the internal affairs of the DPRK, as it was very clear from reading the report of the hearing that rather than discussing the external policy of the DPRK, in fact, a lot of time was spent discussing what are internal matters for the DPRK and strictly related to the sovereignty of the DPRK. And not far from the House of Lords. You can find homeless people sleeping rough on the streets with uh, no food uh, at all. But instead of choosing to debate how they could best solve the issues of homelessness and poverty in the UK, both of which are rising, their lordships and ladyships chose to have a debate about a faraway country of which they are profoundly ignorant of and couldn't even get the name right. And you'll notice the debate made absolutely no reference to Juche or Songun. The House of Lords did not invite the DPRK embassy in London to address the hearing or comment, nor did it invite the Korean Friendship Association of the UK, KFA UK, the real experts on the DPRK, to address the debate. The House of Lords didn't bother to ask for evidence from us or cite any of our materials. The whole debate was completely one-sided and unfair and dominated by extreme and inveterate anti-DPRK reactionaries such as Lord Alton of Liverpool. No one sympathetic to the DPRK was allowed to address the debate, which was a theatre pantomime of anti-DPRK bashing, slander and calumny by the Tories, its so-called independents or crossbench, Lib Dems, Labour and Greens, all of which are equally anti-DPRK, and when it comes to the DPRK, have absolutely identical policies, no difference between any of them. Now, this is interesting because supposedly we live in a multi-party system, and of course, yeah, I mean, you can't, vote for the House of Lords. It's not elected, but of course, you can vote for members of the House of Commons. But the recent House of Lords debate shows that what are supposedly opposed parties actually have identical policies. They're all the same. Starting the ball rolling in the debate, Lord Swire, a Conservative, claimed that the DPRK is part of, and I quote, an unhealthy, unwelcome, and frankly dangerous anti-Western access, end of quotation. Oh dear, never mind, how sad, as the late Windsor Davies often used to say. You know, the fact, it's also stupendous that someone makes a remark like that. I mean, what do they expect? The DPRK was bombed by the US in the 50s. It was subjected to nuclear threats. It's been subjected to sanctions for over 70 years. So what can they expect? And in fact, the DPRK is an anti-imperialist, independent foreign policy which opposes domination and interference by the US and other imperialist countries such as the UK. Of course, we should never forget that the UK is an imperialist country. And I think it's a very good thing that the DPRK stands against US imperialism and puts up strong anti-US, anti-imperialist slogans. This is a good thing, not a bad thing. And also, Swire claims inaccurately that the DPRK, and I quote, expelled the British embassy from Pyongyang. This is simply not true. It's nonsense. It was Britain that withdrew the embassy from Pyongyang. It was not the decision of the DPRK. The DPRK did not break relations with the UK and did not expel the British embassy. They left of their own accord. Russian, Chinese, Cuban, and some other countries still have diplomats in Pyongyang. They didn't have any problems with the measures that the DPRK implemented to counter the global health pandemic. It was only certain Western diplomats who were upset because they couldn't buy luxuries in Pyongyang and couldn't buy Johnny Walker whiskey or go on leave the DPRK at the weekends to go on pleasure trips. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Uh, it was only diplomats from Western countries who had seemed to find problems with these measures that DPRK implemented. Both Lord Swire and Lord Alton banged on about the usual rubbish about, quote, mass starvation and, quote, prison camps, making false accusations about the human rights situation in the DPRK. Statistics from the UN Food and Agriculture Organization, and the UN is no friend of the DPRK. The UN have imposed sanctions dozens of times on the DPRK. And the UN is actually quite hostile to the DPRK, but it's interesting to see these statistics which show that rice consumption per capita in the DPRK is 99 kilograms per year, and actually higher than that of South Korea, the so-called liberal human rights paradise that Lord Alton worships and goes on visits to all the time. And this figure approximates to 271 grams of rice per day, which would provide three very generous meals of rice per day. And in actual fact, statistics from inside the DPRK show that citizens are supplied with 300 grams of rice per day, along with tofu, eggs, and beer. During the years of the arduous march, the DPRK's population increased rather than decreased, proving that the stories of famine and mass starvation were not true. As to the so-called human rights problem, there is no human rights problem in the DPRK. People enjoy the right to free housing, to education, to free medical care, to work, to pensions, and even have holidays paid for at state expense. Visiting the DPRK many times, in fact 18 times, I did not see forced labour camps or concentration camps that the imperialists allege exist in the DPRK. I could not see such a thing. In fact, I didn't even see one barbed wire fence in the countryside, nor large numbers of police or security personnel. It should also be mentioned that the DPRK countryside was free of crop failure and famine. There was a good level of social equality in the DPRK countryside. There are no big houses in the DPRK countryside, no big private landed estates like the ones in this country, which are owned by members of the House of Lords or latifundia, no rich farmers or landlords, a genuine people's countryside. The so-called information that the House of Lords based its debate on is just lies and falsehoods created by the South Korean puppets, by the US Central Intelligence Agency, and by those who betrayed their socialist homeland for money. Lastly, the House of Lords called for the DPRK Supreme Leadership to be referred to the International Criminal Court. I mean, this is a total affront to the DPRK. It's a hostile act by British imperialism against the DPRK, and of course, it is a grave infringement on the DPRK's sovereignty, as well as basically a call for the overthrow of the socialist system in the DPRK and for making the northern part of Korea, a colony of world imperialism, a colony of the IMF, the World Economic Forum, etc. That's what it is a call for. Uh, so our job is to step up our work uh, to defend people's career with no ifs or buts, and uh, to demolish the lies and slanders about the DPRK which come from the likes of the House of Lords. So down with US imperialism, down with British imperialism, defend people's career. Thank you for listening to this video. If you're not already a subscriber to the channel Songun 007, please consider subscribing, and to our affiliated channel Korean Friendship Association of the UK. And also, please share content from this channel as much as you possibly can. Tell your friends about the channel. You can support us in a number of other ways. We've got a publishing program. There's a number of books written by myself on lulu.com, but also some by other people in our organisations, and some collectively written. There'll be a link in the description. And, please consider coming to our events, both in real life and those online. Please check out our social media. And lastly, you can donate to KFA UK. Please contact us for details. Anyway, I wish everybody a good day. All greetings of the season. Please take care at this time of year when enjoying yourselves, and I will see you all again very soon. Goodbye.